Hey guys, it is Sulfat here, giving you another Evoker POV from Mythic Amirdrassil, this time from the second to last boss of the raid, Tindral Sageswift, Seer of the Flame. I played Augmentation for this. It is a very intricate boss, but when you really get down to it, the mechanics aren't too hard. It's just if one person messes up, it is a wipe. So this took us about 420 pulls. It seems like most groups nowadays are killing it somewhere within 300 to 600 pulls, depending on your group. That is a wide variance, but there are a lot of guilds killing it rather quickly. So here's my gear, 485 right now. I have Mythic Naimu and Valorolos. These are Bis trinkets right here. If you don't have access to these two specifically, Branch from Waycrest Manor would be a good replacement too. In terms of the build, we played this. You don't have to play Wormstone on this fight, so you can run Stretch Time. What else is important? Time Spiral is actually used quite frequently on this fight, and Spatial is used as well. So let's bring up the VOD here. Alright, so a couple things to note before the poll. Our comp, we had somebody missing tonight, which was one of our melee. This fight becomes significantly more complicated if you do not have 8 melee at your disposal. We only had 7 melee tonight because, again, somebody missed, so I had to step in and handle the feathers. The way the feathers work in Mythic as compared to Heroic is you need 2 sets of feather people that alternate and go from there. Another comp thing, having a Mistweaver makes this fight infinitely more doable. So we did not have access to that, and I'll explain why the Mistweaver makes it easier later on as we go. Alright, as a forewarning, because I was doing the feathers, my damage on this pull was horrible. But whatever, we killed the boss and we killed it rather quickly, so that's what matters. We start off the pull with our normal stuff, Naimus into Trinket, into Breath. Gonna hover outside of that and then get going. So the reason you want a Mistweaver as compared to anything else, and a Holy Pally to be fair, the meta heal comp is Mistweaver, H-Pal, and then 2 Disc Priest, is because every time these sets of Dispels go out, the difference in Heroic to Mythic is you cannot mass dispel these. They have a cooldown that they leave on you that you need to wait for it to expire before you can dispel the next. So we make this little pattern back here, and that kind of continues throughout the fight. The healers will always be selected with a dispel, but only the ranged healers. So if you have only 2 priests, you know that that first dispel is always going to go onto one of those priests. If you have so for us, we only had 1 disc, we had a Resto Shaman and a Resto Druid, so we had 3 people out there instead, which gives it more variance and complicates things with like freedoms and Tiger's Lust later. The main prio for maintaining your buffs on this fight is Rogues and Hunters. Warlocks are good too, but you're going to do more boss damage on the Rogues and the Hunters, and that's what matters here, so make sure you prio those. For this specific beam set here, it's kind of a mess, and you're doing whatever you can to live as an Evoker. We don't have anything to break that route, so I got a freedom there, which was nice. If you cannot get a freedom there, it is possible to pre-position and make sure you're safe from the beams, but it's kind of inconsistent because the beams are RNG. So you'll see me here doing the feather stuff. This is fun. So this is why my damage is so bad. Because instead of I would be getting ready for my 3rd Evan Might of the fight here, I'm instead going up into the air, which feels great. I suppose I could have delayed it by a second and got him the prescience and the Evan Might off, but I was more concerned with making sure I got the ball, because this was a mechanic that I was kind of thrust into the role of doing. Don't be a hero on that pushback, by the way. Just move from the beams. There's no need to thread the needle there. Important to note in the dragon riding section for this first section, don't use any of your 3 charges of your dash. the boss is super far behind you guys on this first intermission here, so there's no need to waste your charges here. The second one is much more important. If you have an arcane mage in your comp, buffing him for the shield is very big. They do about triple the damage of anybody else, so that's a good buff target there. Otherwise, I'm making sure it's on the rogue. And micromanaging your 2 other Ebonmites that aren't prescience targets for that shield is very annoying because everybody's clumped up, so it is what it is. This phase you'll start seeing me utilize rescue on the priest to shield her before any incoming damage. The rescue shield's like a free 350k shield, so when you can use it before that big falling star, that helps. That is a big chunk of damage. And now we're gonna get into the main pain point of this fight, the seeds. The way we were doing it, we had a, similar to the Dratnos video, we had a mage side and a priest side, and I was in charge of calling out kind of the spread of the seeds. So if I noticed that there was perhaps more spawning on the mage side, I would say so, and vice versa with priest side, and if I noticed it was a normal spread, I would say normal spread. I think that kind of helped guide people on where to look if they're like, we had people pre-positioned in certain spots, but if like they didn't get any seeds at their specific pre-positioned location, they would know where to look for some. Again, we would be getting ready to Ebonmite again here, but I am up in the air, so instead we come down and I'm prioritizing looking for seeds instead of my damage here, so it is what it is. We got the boss to, I think, 42? Low 43s, 42% here, which is great. Going out of the first intermission, you really want the boss to be below 75, and going out of this intermission, you really want the boss to be below 45. But we got it to 42 here, which allowed us to skip the last set of seeds of the fight, which is great. So this fight here is where you want to use your charges. Don't get hit by the balls, I don't know. Like, they're finicky, but do what you gotta do. This breath here, so normally you would prescience, Ebonmite, Nymus, and then breath. But this specific breath here, I just wanted to get it off to start the shield ticking on the players to help keep them healthier, because we were having a bit of issue there during prog living, and that seemed to help. Same thing there with the seeds. We're just spreading out and making sure we get all of them. That was a very good set by us. And then we're pre-positioning for the dispels here. Once again, spreading for the seeds here. And then we have the hardest overlap of the fight. So right here, you pre-freedom your healers, and then you hunter freedom whoever's number 2 here. So we're calling out our warlock was number 2. So we hunter freedom him to get out, then dispel 3 and 4, which is me and the other evoker. We gate out, and then we walk back to where the other ones are. And that's it. It really seems a lot harder than it is. It's not that bad. Then I am breathing on these roots here, mainly to A, make sure I don't get rooted, and then B, just so we have damage and we can break those super quick before this set of seeds here. Every dispel after that gate, the positioning can kind of be YOLO'd. So we're just going off to the side here and making sure we're outside of the raid, and that's all that really matters there. I messed up there, I didn't get in time, so I'm calling for a freedom here, and luckily somebody had one and I was able to get out, otherwise I would have died. But that's what having good teammates is for. And then this is the last set of feathers. I think we could have skipped this and we would have killed the boss before the balls dropped anyways, but it is what it is. We got there, and then this is the set of seeds that I'm saying that we had enough damage to be able to skip. We had about 2 seconds there before all the trees were about to go, and yeah, we killed the boss before that went off. Very fun and frustrating boss to progress. A lot of wipes are going to be spent in phase 1, wiping to the fire beams. Yeah, to the fire beams here. These one-shot you in Mythic, pretty much at least. So that's going to be a lot of your wipes. They didn't nerf it, so there's 2 less beams, but it's still kind of a shit show. Something I could also say, make sure you have defensives for the falling stars, especially in P2 and P3. What else? Yeah, I think that's all we really struggled with. I guess don't spawn the tree ants if you can avoid it. We had issues in the middle of prog where we were spawning too many tree ants and taking too much unnecessary damage from it. So make sure all your players know that they are not to break their roots and spawn a tree ant unless they absolutely need to, or if they are assigned to do so. Other than that, it is a good boss. It's a fun boss, but it can get frustrating at times. So just hang in there, and you'll get it dead before you know it. All right, take it easy. If you want to catch Fire Arc Prog, check out twitch.tv/soulfattv. See ya.